to nothing at all. It does not count. Everything remains exactly how it was. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by the old, familiar name.
Hurry up tomorrow. Or as I like to say, I need to hurry the hell up so I can finish talking about this. Okay, so I wanted to take this very seriously because I looked at the trailer and went, what is this? Like, okay, The Weeknd is doing a movie. I hadn't seen The Idol, and I heard from multiple people. They said it was just awful in general, but they talked about his acting and saying that he was atrocious. But, this being, this having, him, especially fresh off of his new album called Hurry Up Tomorrow. It also has, Jenna Ortega, who is really on the top of her game right now. You also have, Barry, Keoghan, who I really liked in Saltburn. He was one of the more enjoyable characters in Eternals. So he's on the rise right now. And it's directed by the same director as It Comes at Night, which was a really kind of cool, underrated psychological film. It's okay, I don't know what is going to happen, but from this trailer, you're showing me a lot of just random stuff, and you're not giving me a plot on this. So that's kind of what I feared, kind of worried going into it. But I wanted to take this very seriously. So I actually listened to the entirety of his new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. Now, I've listened to, it was Starboy and After Hours. I've not listened to Dawn FM. Cause After Hours, I was okay, this is kind of cool. Honestly, I like Starboy the most. And real quick on Hurry Up Tomorrow, there was really only 3 songs on there that I was these ones I actually like. I would say Wake Me Up, Cry For Me, and Open Hearts. The rest was just kind of just meh to me. So I was okay, this is just kind of whatever. But anyway, so I actually did that. Maybe I'll review that in the future. I don't know. But first, let's talk about this movie. So this movie, we have The Weeknd playing himself, but almost like a douchebag version of himself, where he's, he got out of a relationship that he's still, struggling over. He wants to get back together, but the woman he was with says you were just a complete jerk and doesn't want him back. Barry Keoghan plays his friend, who I'm guessing is his manager. They never really explicitly say there's never a line yeah, I'm your buddy, but I'm also your manager. They never throw that real quick. They always say oh yeah, I'm your friend. Who was there for me? Who was there for you? And it's okay, so I know you're friends, but what's your professional relationship? But they never talk about it. And Jenna Ortega plays a woman who is pretty much a psycho. And I'll just say this. The opening scene, them introducing her character to us, she is throwing gasoline all over her house and lighting it on fire. And it's oh, so she's crazy. Okay. But she loves The Weeknd's music, so she goes to one of his concerts, and, they, through, her going and The Weeknd cracking his vocal cords, so then he can't sing, so he doesn't know what's going to happen. They run into one another, and they have a night in LA that is filled with fun, laughing. They go to Santa Monica Pier, it's okay, it was nice and fun. So then the next morning, Ortega is pretty much convinced that they are like in love with, like they are in love, like everywhere she goes. Like he even, she asks him like, so where are you going now? And, or I'm sorry, where are we going now? And he goes, through pretty bad acting, says like, well, I gotta go see the doctor, I gotta go do this, and I just, wherever the next show is, I guess, like, I guess. And she's like, oh, take me with you. And he's trying to honestly kind of like be like, look, I just met you, like, and just becomes like this obsessive love, and almost turns into something like Audition or Basic Instinct. But it feels more like Basic Instinct because with like in that movie, you know, Sharon Stone, she was psycho. So you kind of felt bad for Michael Douglas, but at the same time, you don't feel any remorse for him because of the things that he did. So it's like, yeah, you kind of, not saying you deserve this, but you're not a nice guy anyway. But with this, it's like, okay, so we have this like twisted love thing going on here, and it's a mess. It's a mess of a movie. I heard from a bunch of people that they said that this was the worst film of the year, and I immediately like cocked my head in disbelief and was like, come on. I've seen, like, really, it can't be that bad. Now, it's not a famous last word, because do I think that this is the worst movie of the year so far? Not yet. It's very much up for debate. But is this one of the worst movies of the year? Absolutely. Will it stay there? Probably. Actually, probably. That's a big probably. So, the good, honestly, Keoghan and Ortega, they're honestly trying. They're trying to get something. They're trying to do something with this, but unfortunately, they've just been giving really crappy material to work with. This movie's all over the place. It really is. It's supposed to be a kind of quote unquote horror movie. It's not. It's more like a really kind of dumb drama film. And the horror that they're trying to throw in is so random that it's like, what is happening? That felt like a deleted scene. You didn't need to put that. You could say it's atmospheric, but it doesn't connect with anything, so it just feels random. The Weeknd's acting, ooh boy, it's not good. Despite, I heard reports that Ortega basically gave him notes on how to act, and it's like, I don't think those notes paid off. Because yeah, it was still pretty bad. So they could have done something like the movie This Is Spinal Tap, where it's a mockumentary about this rock band, and it was funny. It was what it was. It's a really good movie, especially when with this you have The Weeknd playing like a jerk version of himself. It's just, this movie felt pointless. It felt pointless, where it felt like they listened to the Hurry Up Tomorrow album and went, hey, let's stitch a movie with this. Like, hey, let's start the movie off with you singing this song. And then we'll continue with this song. And then just, we'll have your song Drive be put over a scene where, they're in a car. Why? It just fit. We'll just stick it there. There's no point to any of this. Some characters do crazy things, and yet there are no consequences for any of their actions. If you watch the movie, it's mainly Ortega's character. Where I'm like, you're doing some crazy, heinous things, and yet everything is just like neatly handed to you. And it's like, why? so many confusing parts, and with a third act that just made me go, what are you doing? Like, what are you even doing? And yeah, but it wasn't a, what are you doing in a good way? It was in a really confusing and bad way. Honestly, this movie was just a waste. There was no reason for this movie to even get made. I don't know what the budget was, but its budget could have easily been used for multiple other projects. And I'm trying to, find something to get it out of the terrible rating, but I just can't think of anything. And even the good things I did talk about, with its atmosphere and Ortega and Keoghan trying, it's just nothing there. There's nothing there. I won't even say, this to be like a fine, like, rent this movie. So, it is a terrible, but, is it one of the worst movies of the year? Absolutely. But is it number one? It is still up for debate. So we'll see at the end of the year.
Hello?